Minister I think we should start.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, and good afternoon to our media partners, and welcome. Thank you for your patience. Without much ado, straight over to the Chief Secretary, to the President's Cabinet, Dr. Silvester.
Thank you, Secretary. On behalf of the Minister and the delegation of ministers, we want to welcome
Thank you very much, Chief Secretary, and I want to welcome you once again to this fifth meeting, Decision Matrix. And with me, I have got my colleagues. There is the Honorable Professor Mugira, he is Acting Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade. This is our Attorney General, I'm sure you know him. And there is Honorable Govt, Minister of Environment and Tourism. And it's a big change today. There is Honorable Chassi on the other side, Minister of Energy and Power, and Minister Zimbabwean, Minister of Justice. Right behind me, we've got Minister Kazembe, who is Acting Minister of Youth and Sports. Today, Cabinet met. The Minister of Labour and Social Welfare updated Cabinet on the 2020 African Regional Forum on Sustainable Development. And this conference happened in Victoria Falls from the 24th to the 27th February 2020. The forum ran under the theme 2020 to 2030, a decade to deliver a transformed and prosperous Africa through the 2030 Agenda and Agenda 2063. Key messages from that forum included the following. A, that member states should invest in data, research, and new knowledge while being cognizant of social norms and practices, as well as refocusing educational programs to target industrial development while paying attention to secondary education of the girl child, because the science and mathematics based by gender is very hard in most aspects. Then B, that African countries should design and implement innovative financial policies, as well as undertaking reforms to broaden their tax bases, eliminate loopholes that permit tax avoidance, and prioritize expenditure with the greatest impact on the less privileged, and monitor the reach of public spending, and combat illicit financial flows, and operationalize the African Continental Free Trade Area. Then C, that member states should integrate pro-employment policy approaches in their macroeconomic and sectoral economic policy frameworks in an effort to stimulate labor demand and decent jobs. Cabinet noted that Zimbabwe assumed chairmanship of the Bureau and is expected to present the key messages from the ARFSD, which is the shortcut of the African Regional Forum on Sustainable Development. And this will be held the next one will be to the 2020 High Level Political Forum, and the next one will be held in New York from the 7th to the 17th July 2020. Then there was also a report which was given by the Minister of Health and Child Care, and this was an update on the national preparedness and response progress regarding the 2019 novel coronavirus COVID-19 outbreak. The Minister of Health and Child Care, Honorable Moyo, updated Cabinet on the national preparedness and response regarding the COVID-19 outbreak. Cabinet was informed that as of 1st March 2020, a total of 6,169 travelers had been screened at our air and ground ports of entry, with the majority through the Robert Mugabe International Airport in Harare. Cabinet was informed that 2 suspected cases were detected and isolated at Wilkins Hospital over the weekend. One is a Zimbabwean from Bahrain, and the other is a Chinese citizen from Hunan province. Subsequent tests for the 2 were conducted locally, and they were found to be negative. The 2 were discharged, but Ministry will continue to follow them up on the next 21 days. As an additional measure, Cabinet resolved as follows: that all visitors from affected countries should hold valid medical certificates of clearance for coronavirus, showing that they've been examined for symptoms and tested for coronavirus at a designated government health institution in their country. Also, Cabinet noted that all government emergency agencies, including the Civil Protection Unit, CPU, have to gear towards preparedness in advance of COVID-19. And see that government workers at all borders should work as a team so as to enhance national preparedness against COVID-19, and that spot checks on visitors on the 21 self-quarantine should continue to be enhanced. Cabinet was informed that the Ministry of Health and Childcare continues to coordinate the training of doctors, nurses, laboratory scientists, health promotion, environmental health, and infection and control officers at Wilkins Infectious Diseases Hospital. The trained cadres are expected to cascade the training to all institutions from central hospitals to the clinic level. Then Cabinet also received a report on the outcome of the 25th Conference of Parties, COP25, which was held in Madrid, Spain. This report was given by the Minister of Environment, Climate, Tourism and Hospitality Industry, Honorable Robo, who attended this conference in Madrid, Spain from the 2nd to the 13th December 2019. The parties there agreed to reduce greenhouse gas emissions in line with the Paris Agreement through their nationally determined contributions, NDCs, which are to be achieved by 2030. Zimbabwe aims to reduce emissions by 33% per capita in the energy sector by 2030. Zimbabwe, together with other developing countries concerned by the call to phase out coal usage, thermal energy generation, and other industrial processes, they are all concerned about this. This is in view of the dwindling water resources in the country owing to recurrent droughts, which in turn constrain hydroelectric power generation. The country will, however, continue to explore alternatives and renewable sources of energy in place of coal. Dialogue will also need to be initiated with SADC member states on the implications of the call to phase out the use of coal in order to arrive at a common position which can be articulated at international fora. Cabinet further noted with satisfaction that the Environmental Management Agency, EMA, has recently been accredited by the Green Climate Fund to become a national implementing entity. This will enable the country to receive climate change adaptation funds directly through the entity EMA. 25% of carbon tax will be allocated to the National Climate Fund as co-financing contributions. That goes for that report. Then Cabinet considered and approved the proposal to have a general amnesty. This report was presented by the Minister of Justice, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, Honorable Ziambe. Cabinet noted that the country's prison population currently standing at 22,000 against an official holding capacity of 17,000. The general amnesty, which will be for certain specified categories of prisoners, will certainly decongest the country's prisons and alleviate challenges being experienced by the Zimbabwe prisons and correctional services. The Cabinet also received a report back on the second session of the Zimbabwe-Botswana Binational Commission. This was presented by the Acting Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, Honorable Professor Mubira. He briefed Cabinet on the proceedings and outcomes of the second session of the Zimbabwe-Botswana Binational Commission, which was held in Maun, Botswana, from 25th to the 28th February 2020. The Zimbabwe government's delegation, which included several ministers, was led by His Excellency, the President, Govt. E.G. Mnangagwa. Cabinet noted with satisfaction that the BNC was a resounding success as it brought to the fore the broadening strategic partnership between Zimbabwe and Botswana. 6 memoranda of understanding were signed in the fields of health, employment and labor, housing, education and training, sport development, and the media. One agreement was signed in defense and security. The two heads of state, however, were concerned by the lack of sufficient progress in the implementation of BNC decisions in certain areas. They urged that implementation of the bilateral programs and projects be speeded up in these areas. Positive results were nonetheless achieved in several areas, including environment and wildlife, where both Zimbabwe and Botswana have set aside substantial portions of their countries towards wildlife conservation. The third session of the Binational Commission will be held in Zimbabwe in February 2021. And last but not least, Cabinet received a report on the preparedness of the Zimbabwe National Stadium to host the Conference of Africa tournament. The Minister of Home Affairs and Pastoral Heritage, as Acting Minister of Youth, Sports, Arts and Recreation, reported on Zimbabwe's preparedness to host the Confederation of African Football CAF tournament following the banning of the country's stadium. Cabinet was informed that the Minister of Youth, Sports, Arts and Recreation had conducted an inspection tour of National Sports Stadium to assess Zimbabwe's preparedness to host international matches. Cabinet noted that corrective action is in progress and all effort is being made to ensure that the country hosts international matches, in particular CAF. Meanwhile, consultations are in progress to ensure that the country stadia, which fall under different responsible authorities, are also rehabilitated to meet the required international standards. I thank you for listening. That brings in our post-cabinet gift.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister and Chair. And now it comes to our opportunity, which we will give to members of the media, to pose their questions relating to the briefing. As usual, we have two sessions. First, we'll give you 4 persons to ask questions. Then we will see the next round of the questions. Any offers? Yes, please.
Go ahead and tell us who you are.
I wanted to ask you, has government considered privatizing prisons or partnering with those in the private sector to improve the prisons and the prison profit?
Okay, I hope
I think.
Yeah, okay. Any other volunteer? They are involved. One involved.
Thank you, Zimbabwe Representatives TV, to the Acting Minister of Foreign Affairs. This is the second BNC we're having with Botswana. Last year they came through, we were given a loan facility of 1 million pula, and Botswana businesses are supposed to use that fund to invest in Zimbabwe. What has happened with that facility? We are talking on the second one now, we're talking about next one coming in 2021, February. Are we not just having these conferences which then become more talk shows and not really turning out to be something tangible that brings in, FDI and improvement in our businesses? Thank you.
Yes, please. On the left.
Elian Kali from 263 Section. Mine is to the Minister for Acting Minister for Youth Sport. Any time frames on the stadium issue?
Okay. Last volunteer. I don't additionally having a handout, please.
My name is Angela from my question is to the Minister of Public Service. I wanted to confirm Africa is supposed to mobilize about 2.5 trillion in order to achieve the SDGs. So, considering our economic situation in Zimbabwe are we going to be able to raise public money?
So that's the end of the first round.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chief Secretary. I want to thank you all for the very good work. Okay, from Mutsvangwa, Minister Mutsvangwa, the question was, are you considering privatizing business to improve the welfare of customers?
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, the paper that I presented in Cabinet today pertains to the armies of South Africa. We didn't discuss that private education of persons. Currently, not a discussion around those lines.
Very much. And especially to you, Professor Mutsvangwa, the Acting Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade. This is the second PNC. Last first one there was an offer of 1 million fuller for Botswana business people were supposed to use when they came to Zimbabwe. What has happened to that? And we went on to say, I will not have any talk show conferences.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Taku. For sure, we don't have talk shows, but we have to talk before we act also. So those two actions, they are connected. Think, talk, do. So on this one, the securing of the 1 billion fuller is at an advanced stage. And Zimbabwe and Botswana are having extremely very good relations, and we are keen to move together to implement everything that we have agreed to. There are only few technical things that are left, and I'm sure that in the course of this year, very early in this year, you will get an announcement. Thank you.
Thank you for that answer. Now, last but not this is 263, and the name is Larry. Elia.
Yes.
Thank you, Elia. And this is to you, Acting Minister of the Youth and Sports. I wanted to know if there is any time frame to finish up preparing the stadium.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I want to thank the reporter for that such a very good question. It's very difficult to give a precise time frame, but what we're trying to do is to try and at least beat the deadline. Most of the issues of the concerns raised by CAF, we're able to deal with them. We're able to work on the issues within a couple of weeks. There are only two areas which are difficult to achieve within 2 weeks. But most of the things, like the pitch conditions, as we are speaking right now, there are people already working at the National Sports Stadium. They started this morning. Yesterday there was a meeting of all stakeholders at the National Sports Stadium. A similar meeting is taking place in Royal. But I can confirm to you that work has already started as we speak right now. The pitch conditions, the pitch is being attended to, the flood nights are being attended to, dressing rooms are being attended to, and all these three areas can be dealt with within 14 days. The other issues that were raised by CAF, for example, the first aid officials and the spectators areas where they say there's not enough equipment, again, that's an issue that can be dealt with within 14 days, funds permitting. The doping room is being worked on. The only two issues that are difficult to deal with within a couple of weeks, what we're trying to achieve is to do our utmost before the 29th, because we are hoping that we'll be able to host the match on the 29th in Zimbabwe. We are working very well with CAF. We are having dialogue with them, and we hope and trust that they will be kind enough to lift the ban after we have achieved most of the issues that we're dealing with. The two issues that we may not be able to fix within the next couple of weeks, we are expected to have bucket seats. Those are the new international standards. We are supposed to have bucket seats as opposed to the concrete floors that we use. And we're also supposed to have electronic turnstiles, access control turnstiles. Those are not achievable within 2 weeks, but again, we are working on that. So we can safely say within 2 weeks, we should achieve 75% to 80% of the requirements. And we hope through the dialogue that we're having with CAF, they will allow us to host our match at the national.
Thank you, Minister Kazembe. Now, last but not least, this is this is to you, Minister Professor Madima. This is on the 2020 African Regional Forum on Sustainable Development Forum, which just happened in Victoria Falls. And she says Africa is supposed to mobilize money, finances, and the worry is, are we able as a country to raise funds considering our present financial situation?
Thank you, Chair. The 2.5 billion is continent one in order to meet the targets for SDGs. Obviously, there are disparities within Africa. Some countries have very big economies, but they are going to be able to raise quite a bit of resources towards meeting their own SDG targets. We in Zimbabwe have a vision 2030 which says by 2030 we should be up a middle income because a lot of the efforts that we are making now are going to enhance our chance of meeting SDGs in the various areas. Zimbabwe, fortunately, starts at a better level than other African countries. In the social sector, for example, in education, in health, we are way ahead of other African countries. So we hope that as our economy turns around, you know that it is the government's priority to turn around the economy and direct all efforts towards the vision. As we do that, definitely resources should be able to be available to enhance our chance of meeting the SDGs by 2030. You also realize that overall, our forum established that Africa was off track, and they really need to work hard in order to raise the resources that are needed, but also in order to focus attention on implementation of the various sections that are needed in order to achieve the target.
Okay, back to you, Chief for the second round.
Thank you very much. Our last round, those who will please.
Thank you, Gibson Mutavino from Zimbabwe Voice. To the acting minister, I just wanted to find out why did the government wait for such a long time until our systems like the sporting infrastructure collapsed and then it got that? Why are they waiting?
Okay. Any other volunteer? Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. I'm Cindy Genta from BBC. My name is to I just want to find out following the approval of the general amnesty about how many or the number of those that are given to the patriots from the countries that are prisons.
Okay. Next colleague there.
My name is Gordon Mungu, Studio 7. Ndorauza kuna Minister of Health kuti muchaita sei panopakata mapista sanamunyika asina macertificate anoramba zvakatestwa kuvaruka achazotorerwa here kana kuti.
Okay, next one. Yes, please.
Thank you. My name is Leopold from my question is to the acting sport minister. Thank you for the update. Your commission of sports today, I'm sure it will be good news to football loving people. But my question is around Baba Fields. If there is any update from Baba Fields, upgrades, if
if government is assisting in any way council and youth council property. And also if government is assisting or trying to push for the game to be played at Babatul Stadium, since it was originally slated for Babatul Stadium. And then the Babatul Stadium hasn't hosted the national team since 2009. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief Secretary, and Gibson, I wanted to get your last one. I think Nika Jim, yeah. I'm also trying to know all of you. Okay, so from Zimbabwe Voice. And this question was directed to you, Honorable Kazembe Kazembe, the Acting Minister of Sports. Why is that government waits for a long time until the infrastructure collapses?
Thank you very much. The infrastructure hasn't collapsed as such. It's still intact, very, very intact. What is changing are the international standards. They keep changing all the time. I give a very good example. We just used to enter the stadium, getting manual tickets, and now they insist on electronic tickets. And for you to have electronic tickets, you have to have electronic access control system with electronic textiles. So that's new technology. And then even the issue of bucket seats. We used to sit on grass at the Faro Stadium and everything was okay. But now the new international standards require us to have bucket seats. But it doesn't mean that the stadium has collapsed. Even the modern media rooms that they require now is because of the new technology that's now available. So we just have to move with technology. But it's not like the stadium has collapsed.
Thank you. Thank you, Minister. Thank you very much. And the next question is from Stanley James from the DC. And the question is directed to you, Minister Ziambe Ziambe. His question, he wants to know that following approval of amnesty, about how many prisoners will benefit from that?
Thank you, Chair. What we did is we listed the categories of prisoners that we are proposing to give an amnesty, and we listed 9 categories. So going forward now, we will then now work on the prisoners that we say how many qualify among the 9 categories of prisoners that we want to reduce. But our target is we want to reduce our prison population so that it is within our prison capacity, carrying capacity. So that is the target. So we are very hopeful that we will be able to reduce it from 22 to about 17 or 16 I think.
Thank you, Minister Ziambe Ziambe. And Godwin Student Session. As usual. Minister of Health. Minister of Health, Mokubunga, Nekuti, Mavista Gagashkapa Airport, Vasina certificate. No, I forget.
Asina certificate which are negative. Kuonekwa na kuremba kwake kunyika kwakabva muhospitari hurumende kunyika kwakabva anongonzi tatenda mauya asi mauzokera zvakare kwamao mozouya kana mane chitupa chakakwana unotarira kuti ine utachiona hwecoronavirus hamuna saka ndiwo mutemo waabhuiwa zvekuita izvi kuti tigadzirise kuti tisawana vanhu vanouya necoronavirus munyika yedu saka tichatoita zvese zvakaoma kuitira kuti tidzinge coronavirus kubva muzimbabwe.
Mazita Minister, and last but not least, our last question for today is from Leopold. This is again to the Acting Minister of Sports. First of all, thanking you for the update, because everybody is waiting for this update. And but he wants specifically to hear about Babatul. What government is doing to assist to make sure that this tournament will be held with Babatul.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Thank you, Honorable Chair. As I mentioned, I said earlier on, the meeting is taking place today. I'm here to get feedback from Babatul. As you appreciate it, carried by our city council, but as government, we will intervene to ensure that we give them the necessary assistance. Because from what I gather, the issues raised at Papa Fields are manageable compared to National Stadium. So whichever stadium is ready, what we are simply trying to do is to ensure that as a country, we host that match. Actually.
That brings us to the end of today's briefing. I just want to thank my colleague Minister, thank you, Attorney General, thank you very much, Secretary, thank you, and thank you very much.